Have you ever looked at one of your favorite plants and thought, I wish I could have more of you, just like that? Well, today, my friend, your wish comes true, because I'm going to show you how to turn one beloved perennial into a dozen without spending a single dime. Yes, you heard that right, not 1 cent. Just a few careful snips and a bit of patience. You see, many of us have tended to these plants for years. We've watched them grow through seasons, trimmed them back, maybe even talked to them. I certainly do. There's a quiet joy in seeing something you've cared for flourish. And the best part? You can keep that legacy alive, or share it with someone special. Think of it like passing on a living memory, a green piece of your heart that keeps growing in someone else's garden. I still remember when my neighbor Ruth gave me a cutting of her lavender plant nearly 15 years ago. Every time I brush past it, that scent takes me right back to her sunlit porch, where she'd sip tea and hum softly while trimming her roses. That's what I love most about propagation. It's not just gardening, it's storytelling through plants. If you enjoy this kind of slow, simple gardening wisdom, the kind that makes you smile and sigh a little, don't forget to subscribe and join our Golden Garden family. Around here, every leaf truly tells a story, and every bloom feels like an old friend returning for a visit. Now let's roll up our sleeves, shall we? Today we're going to explore 12 classic perennials you can grow from just a single snip. It's easier than you might think. And oh, the satisfaction of seeing those little roots sprout, that's pure magic. So grab your pruning shears, a warm cup of something you love, and meet me by the potting bench. The sun's just right, the birds are humming their morning tune, and we've got some gentle garden miracles to create together. All right, my dear gardening friends, before we get our hands a little dirty, let me give you a quick glimpse of what's ahead. We'll begin with a few of the easy favorites, gentle starters like lavender and mint. These two are wonderfully forgiving. Even if you've never propagated a plant before, they'll make you feel like a pro in no time. Then as our confidence grows, we'll move on to some of the trickier beauties, hydrangeas and roses, the kind that make your neighbors peek over the fence and say, how on earth did you do that? By the end of our time together, you'll know exactly how to take a cutting, prepare it, and help it grow strong new roots. And don't you worry, you won't need any fancy gadgets or expensive equipment. Just a clean pair of scissors, a few pots, and that patient gardener's heart of yours. Here's our lineup for today. Take a slow breath and picture them as I name each one. Lavender, mint, salvia, geranium, catmint, coneflower, coreopsis, sedum, Shasta daisy, black-eyed Susan, hydrangea, and of course, roses, the crown jewel of the garden. Some of these might look mighty familiar. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if your grandmother grew a few of them herself. Sturdy, fragrant, and generous plants that never asked for much but gave beauty in return. My own grandma had a patch of Shasta daisies right by her front gate. I remember brushing against them every summer afternoon as a child, the petals warm from the sun. So that's our roadmap. 12 faithful garden companions waiting to multiply under your care. Ready to begin? Let's start with an easy one, lavender. Its scent alone will make the whole process feel like a spa day for your garden. Now, before we snip a single stem, let's take a quiet moment to gather what we'll need. Don't worry, this isn't one of those long, intimidating lists that makes you feel like you need a garden center in your shed. Just a few simple essentials will do the trick. You'll need a pair of sharp scissors or pruners, a few small pots, or if you're like me, some recycled yogurt cups will work beautifully. Add in a light mix of perlite and potting soil for good drainage, and if you have it, a little rooting hormone to help those tender cuttings take hold faster. Lastly, keep a plastic bag or clear dome handy. It'll act like a tiny greenhouse, keeping your new plants cozy and humid while they grow roots. Now here's why all of this matters. Clean, sharp tools prevent disease and give your cuttings the best possible start. A ragged cut can make a plant struggle, while a clean one says, go on little one, grow strong. And if you don't have fancy pruners, don't you fret. An old kitchen knife will do the job just fine, as long as it's clean. Oh, and if your pruning shears happen to squeak, they're not complaining, they're just asking for a little oil. Think of it as their version of a morning stretch. Once you've got everything gathered, set it out neatly on a table or potting bench. I like to do this part outdoors on a calm morning, when the air is cool and still, and you can hear the soft rustle of leaves around you. There's something soothing about preparing to create new life in the garden. All right then, we're ready. Let's move on to the fun part, choosing the perfect cutting to start our little plant family. Before we start snipping away, it helps to understand one little secret that makes all the difference, the type of cutting you're working with. There are two main kinds, softwood and hardwood. Don't worry, this isn't a test, it's simpler than it sounds. Softwood cuttings come from the fresh new growth, the tender green tips you see on plants like mint in the spring or lavender in early summer. They're full of life and energy, eager to grow roots quickly. But because they're so young, they also dry out easily, like a little sapling that needs constant care. Then we have hardwood cuttings, thicker, more mature stems that come later in the season, from plants like roses or hydrangeas. As summer turns to autumn, they take their time, slow and steady, but once they root, they're tough as nails and ready to face the seasons ahead. Here's an easy way to remember it. Think of softwood like a teenager, eager, full of energy, but still delicate and learning its way. And hardwood, well, that's more like us gardeners, steady, seasoned, and built to last. Each type has its charm. Softwood cuttings reward your patience quickly. You might see roots within a few short weeks. Hardwood ones teach you the virtue of waiting, but when those first roots finally appear, it feels like a quiet little victory. So as you look around your garden, start noticing the difference. Those soft, flexible stems reaching toward the sun, and the sturdier, older ones holding the shape of the plant. Both are full of promise, just waiting for the right touch to bring new life. Alright, let's take what we've learned and put it into practice, starting with one of the easiest and most rewarding softwood cuttings of all, lavender. Now comes the truly delightful part, taking your very first cuttings. We'll start with 4 of the easiest, most forgiving plants in the garden. These are the friendly ones, the kind that practically root just because you smiled at them. Let's begin with lavender. Choose a healthy stem that isn't flowering. Flowers look lovely, but they steal energy from root growth. Snip a 4-inch piece of that fresh, silvery green stem, just below a leaf node. That's the magic spot where new roots like to appear. I like to gently strip off the lower leaves, leaving a few at the top, so the plant can focus on rooting instead of maintaining all that foliage. Next up, mint. Oh, mint is the overachiever of the bunch. Just snip right below a leaf node, pop that stem into water or moist soil, and honestly, it'll root faster than you can make a cup of mint tea. If you've ever accidentally dropped a mint sprig in a glass of water, you've probably seen little roots appear within days. It's that generous. Then there's salvia. For this one, pinch off the soft tips of new growth and remove the lower leaves. Salvias are resilient, cheerful plants that love a good trim. Once rooted, they'll reward you with those bright spikes of color that hum with visiting bees. And finally, geranium. These are old-fashioned favorites. I know many of you have them sitting proudly in sunny windows or by the porch steps. To take a cutting, snip just below a leaf node and remove any blooms or buds. This helps the plant channel all its energy into rooting. My friend Tom once filled an entire patio with geraniums that started from a single mother plant. He swears it made his neighbors jealous every summer. Now, a few simple rules to remember as you work. Always cut just below a leaf node. That's where the roots will form. And keep those cuttings moist but not soaked. Think damp sponge, not wet towel. Too much water can suffocate tender stems before they get a chance to breathe. Lay your cuttings gently on a shaded tray or table as you go, and take a moment to admire them. Each little stem is a promise, a new plant in the making. And isn't it lovely to know that from just a few small snips, an entire garden can begin again? Alright, our first 4 are ready. Up next, we'll move on to a few that take a bit more patience, but the reward is worth every minute. Now that we've gathered our cuttings, it's time to prepare them for their new beginning, rooting. This is the gentle part, where patience meets promise. Each little stem in your hand is full of potential, just waiting for the right care to wake it up. Start by removing the lower leaves. You want a clean stem that can slip easily into the soil mix without any leaves buried below the surface. Those tend to rot, and we don't want that. Leave just a few leaves at the top so the cutting can keep breathing while it settles in. Next, if you have some rooting hormone, now's the time to use it. Simply dip the cut end into the powder. Just a little tap will do. It's like giving your cutting a small boost of confidence before it starts its new life. But don't worry if you don't have any. Many plants root beautifully on their own, especially the easy ones we started with. Now prepare your soil mix. Half potting soil, half perlite. It should feel light and airy, the kind of texture that drains quickly but still holds a hint of moisture. Gently insert the cutting about an inch deep, just enough to keep it upright. I like to pat the soil around it softly, not too tight so the stem feels supported but can still breathe. Here's a little habit that will save you from mix-ups later. Label each pot. You might think you'll remember which is which, but trust me, 2 weeks from now all green stems start to look alike. I once gave my neighbor what I thought was a lavender cutting, and it turned out to be mint. Her tea smelled wonderful, but her cookies not so much. After labeling, give the soil a light misting, just enough to make it feel like a fresh morning dew. Then cover the pot loosely with a plastic bag or a clear dome to keep in humidity. It's like tucking your little cuttings into a cozy greenhouse blanket. And here's something to remember. Don't worry if your cutting looks small or fragile right now. Every towering hydrangea, every proud rosebush, started just like this, a tender stem, full of quiet determination. Oh, and before you start potting, here's a helpful tip. If you're reusing old pots, give them a quick wash first. Even a rinse in vinegar water keeps things clean and prevents hidden bacteria from spoiling your hard work. Once everything's potted, step back, take a slow breath, and admire your little nursery. You've just begun a new generation of plants, living proof that in the garden, there's always room for new life to grow. Now let's talk about what comes next, how to keep these young cuttings happy until they're ready to stand on their own. Now that your first little batch is tucked in and cozy, let's move on to our next group, the intermediate perennials. These 4 are still wonderfully cooperative, but they'll ask for just a touch more patience. The good news is, they're also some of the most rewarding to grow, the kind that fill your garden with color, texture, and movement all summer long. Let's start with catmint. Oh, catmint is such a gentle soul of a plant, soft, fragrant, and always humming with bees. Take a 3-inch tip from new non-flowering growth. You'll notice how velvety those leaves feel between your fingers. Catmint roots so easily it almost seems eager to please. Forgiving, adaptable, and happy in nearly any corner of the garden. Next up is coneflower, or echinacea, as some of you might know it. Now this one takes just a little longer to root, but the payoff is those proud purple blooms standing tall in late summer. The best way to start it is from basal shoots, those fresh new stems that grow near the base of the plant. They're sturdy and full of life, ready to form their own root system if given a bit of time. So don't rush it. Coneflowers teach us that slow and steady beauty lasts the longest. Then we have coreopsis, a cheerful, sun-loving friend. For this one, snip soft green stems that haven't started flowering yet. Flowering shoots are focused on blooming, not rooting, so it's best to catch them early. Once they settle in, these golden beauties will fill your garden with sunshine, even on cloudy days. And finally, Sedium. The easiest of them all, and a true survivor. You don't even need scissors for this one. Just break off a small piece, let it dry for a day so the end can seal, and then plant it right into your mix. That's it. No fuss, no worries. I once left a Sedium cutting on a table for an entire weekend. When I finally remembered it, it had already started to form tiny roots on its own. You see, nature really wants to grow. All we have to do is give her a little nudge in the right direction. With the right light, a bit of care, and your gentle touch, these cuttings will find their way. Oh, and a gentle reminder before we move on. Keep those labels handy. I promise 3 weeks from now, every one of these will look like the same little green mystery plant. It's like trying to tell twins apart at a distance. Adorable, but confusing. Alright, that's our intermediate team done. Let's take a breath, wipe a bit of soil from our hands, and get ready for the final group, the showstoppers of the garden, hydrangeas and roses. They might take a little more patience, but my do they make it worth your while. Now we come to our final group, the trickier but oh so rewarding perennials. These are the ones that test your patience a little, but when they finally take root, they make you feel like a master gardener. Every success here feels like a small miracle, and honestly that's part of the fun. Let's start with the Shasta daisy. These cheerful white blooms are as classic as a summer morning. You can take either soft stem cuttings or little root crown cuttings. Both work beautifully. If you choose soft stems, make sure they're young and pliable. If you're dividing from the crown, just take a small section with a bit of root attached. Shastas are generous plants. Give them a little care, and they'll repay you with armfuls of blooms that seem to smile right back at you. Next is the beloved black-eyed Susan. These sunny charmers are best taken from fresh spring shoots, right when the plant is bursting with new life. Cut a healthy section just below a leaf node and remove any lower leaves. Black-eyed Susans can be a bit slower to root, but once they do, they grow with such confidence, filling your garden with warm golds and deep browns that sway with every breeze. Now hydrangeas, the elegant queens of the garden. For these, look for non-flowering stems, about 4 to 6 inches long. Snip just below a node, dip the end in rooting hormone, and nestle it into your soil mix. Then cover it with a plastic bag or clear dome to hold in humidity. Hydrangeas love that cozy greenhouse-like environment. It may take a few weeks, but when you see that first little leaf unfurl from your cutting, it's pure magic. And finally, roses, the grand finale. These are the crown jewels of any garden, but they do take patience. Choose a pencil-thick hardwood stem from your rose bush, about 6 inches long, and make your cut just below a node. Remove the lower leaves and thorns, dip it in rooting hormone, and plant it firmly in your potting mix. Roses root slowly, so don't be discouraged if they take their time. Think of it as waiting for a dear old friend who's worth every minute. And here's the most important thing to remember. Even if 1 or 2 of your cuttings don't take, don't be disheartened. Gardeners learn by growing, and sometimes by regrowing. Every attempt teaches you something new about patience, timing, and the gentle rhythm of nature. I always say if every cutting rooted perfectly, we'd all be living in jungles by now. But the truth is, every success, every small leaf, every new root feels special precisely because it doesn't happen by accident. It happens through care, hope, and the quiet joy of watching life begin again. So take a step back, smile at your little collection of pots, and know that you've done something beautiful today. You've multiplied life, one snip at a time. Now that your little cuttings are tucked in and ready, this is where the true heart of gardening begins. The waiting, the watching, and those quiet moments of care that connect us back to nature. Place your pots somewhere with bright indirect light, not harsh sun, but a gentle glow that warms without scorching. A bright windowsill or a shaded patio is perfect. Too much sun can dry those tender stems faster than you'd think, but too little, and they'll sit still, unsure of what to do next. Like us, they need just the right balance, a comfortable spot to find their rhythm. Every few days, mist your cuttings lightly. You don't want to drown them, just give them that soft touch of moisture that mimics morning dew. It's amazing how something so small can make them feel cared for, and you'll notice the leaves staying plump and lively instead of wilting. After about 3 to 4 weeks, give your cuttings a gentle check. You can do this by tugging ever so slightly at the base of the stem.
If it resists, even just a little, that's the sign you've been waiting for. Roots are forming beneath the surface. If it slides out easily, don't lose heart. Tuck it back in, mist again, and give it more time. Nature always works on her own schedule. Once you start seeing strong white roots, that's your cue to transplant. Move your new plant into a slightly larger pot, or directly into the garden if the weather's right. Handle them gently, like a newborn, because in a way, that's exactly what they are, newborns of the garden world. And as you watch them settle and grow, take a quiet moment to reflect. Gardening teaches us patience, the kind of patience that the world sometimes forgets. It's like a soft, ongoing conversation between you and the earth. You give her your time and care, and in return, she gives you life and beauty. When your very first cutting takes root, that tiny white thread curling through the soil, it truly feels like a small miracle. And that's when you realize, in the garden, miracles aren't rare at all. They happen every day, right beneath our fingertips. Before we wrap up, let me share a few bonus tips. Little nuggets of wisdom that make rooting your cuttings even easier and more successful. Think of these as the gentle secrets passed down from one gardener to another. First, try to take your cuttings in the morning, when the plant is full of moisture and ready for a fresh start. It's like catching them at their best moment of the day, refreshed and eager to grow. If you have access to it, rainwater is a wonderful choice for watering. It's soft, gentle, and kinder to tender roots than tap water, which sometimes carries minerals that can overwhelm a young plant. Now, for those of us whose hands might shake just a little, don't fret. Use long tweezers or small tongs to place delicate stems into their pots. I sometimes joke that these tiny tools are like little gardeners' magic wands, helping me guide my babies into their new homes safely. Keep a little propagation notebook. Write down which cuttings you tried, which rooted quickly, and which ones needed a bit more patience. It's like a diary of your garden adventures, and 3 seasons from now, you'll be so grateful for those notes. And here's a heartwarming tip. Share your extra plants. Pass them along to neighbors, friends, or family. There's something truly joyful about watching someone else's eyes light up when they realize that a simple cutting has grown into a thriving plant. As I always say, joy multiplies when shared. Remember when we used to trade seeds over the garden fence? There was a certain magic in that simple act, a connection, a story, a promise of summer blooms. Let's bring that spirit back, one cutting at a time. Imagine a whole neighborhood, quietly multiplying flowers and herbs, all starting with a single snip and a little care. With that, you're ready to nurture your garden family, grow memories, and maybe even start a few new traditions. After all, gardening isn't just about plants, it's about patience, joy, and the quiet, persistent wonder of life itself. Now take a deep breath, step back and smile. Your garden and your heart just got a little bigger today. Let's take a quiet moment to recap everything we've done today, so you have a simple roadmap to follow anytime you want to multiply your favorite perennials. Step 1. Gather clean tools and soil. A sharp pair of scissors, a few small pots, and a light, airy soil mix. That's all you need to start. Step 2. Choose healthy parent plants. Look for strong, vibrant stems, the ones that have been thriving in your garden and are ready to share their life with new cuttings. Step 3. Take softwood or hardwood cuttings. Remember the difference. Softwood is like a teenager, eager but delicate. Hardwood is steady and seasoned, like us gardeners. Step 4. Prepare and plant them properly. Remove lower leaves, dip in rooting hormone if you like, plant in soil, and label each one carefully. Step 5. Keep them moist and covered. Mist gently, keep them in bright indirect light, and give them a cozy plastic cover to maintain humidity. Step 6. Be patient while they root. Nature works at her own pace. Check gently after 3 to 4 weeks, and don't be discouraged if some take a little longer. And finally, Step 7. Transplant and enjoy your new perennials. Move them into larger pots or your garden beds once roots are strong. Then watch them flourish, knowing that each plant began with nothing more than a small, hopeful cutting. There you have it, 7 simple steps, a lifetime of gardening joy waiting at your fingertips, and a little extra green magic to share with neighbors, friends, and family. Gardening, after all, isn't just about plants. It's about patience, care, and the quiet miracles that happen when we give life a gentle nudge. And today, my friend, you've done just that. As we gently wrap up today's little gardening adventure, take a moment to reflect. Each cutting carries a story. Maybe it's a tale from your mother's garden, or that neighbor who always seemed to grow the most fragrant lavender. Perhaps it's a memory of trading plants over the garden fence, or the quiet joy of tending something with your own hands. When you root a cutting, you're not just growing a plant, you're keeping that story alive, giving it a new chapter to flourish. Thank you for spending this quiet gardening time with me today. If you found even a little peace or joy in growing along, give this video a gentle thumbs up, and consider subscribing for more simple, heartwarming garden wisdom from our Golden Garden family. Until next time, may your garden and your spirit keep growing strong.